Remy is a really passionate person and he loved the mountains. And when he was 18 years old, after his career as a cross-country skier, he decided he was going to become a mountain guide.
He, went, head first into the mountain guiding world and the climbing world in the Rockies and did really well for himself. We felt the calling of higher mountains, and Remy really expressed that in his passion and how driven he was. Remy had done some really interesting climbs in the Bow Valley, rock climbs that even to this day see very few repeats. So Remy was very ambitious.
On October 18, 2006, Remy just spontaneously had a severe brain bleed, brainstem stroke that left him in a coma for about a month.
I really wanted to know what I could do to help. And when I got involved briefly at the start, I think everyone was under the impression that Remy was not going to live through the initial ordeal.
So this left him with the right side of his body being paralyzed, and also he doesn't feel anything on the right side of his body, so complete anesthesia. Definitely the first couple months I've had a few calls from the nurses telling me that he would roll the cord of the nurse's cord around his neck and throw himself off the bed. Even after the 18 months, he continued to adapt his life and find ways to make life easier.
The history was made after, where 10 years later, he's still very much the same passionate individual that got him started in the first place.
We're going rafting. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. I'm going with my friend and Rocky Mountain Adaptive Point Center.
Okay.
I used to whitewater kayak all the time.
Initial.
Rocky Mountain Adaptive Sports Centre is a charity based in Canmore, and our aim is to make every single mountain sport and recreational activity accessible to people of all abilities. We're known as a disability sport organisation. We don't like the word disabled too much and like to focus more on abilities and getting anyone out, no matter what their challenge is, to have fun in the beautiful Canadian Rockies.
What size shoe do you wear?
I don't know, big, I guess. Doesn't really matter, I don't walk anywhere.
You won't have to walk too far in them anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
I discovered that when we got back to the car and I was putting on this wrist guard, I said, "What's that for?" It's so he can strap his lower hand to the paddle and then he can paddle. So he's always one step ahead of me in terms of figuring out how he can make something happen.
Okay, you want to hear this, you want to know it, you don't want to use it. That's the idea here. Okay, so that's kind of the... like I was talking to Remy about how he climbed earlier, and I was like, he climbs more than I do. It makes me happy to see people going outside and enjoying it. That's why I do what I do, so I can take people to places that they don't normally go to.
All right, have fun out there, Remy.
Thank you.
You guys still good energy-wise?
Yeah.
We had Jonathan, he was in a foot cast, and Amanda, who didn't have any use of her legs, from what I could see, and Remy, who was kind of hanging out at the bottom, just loving life. We think, oh, that's sad, and Remy's chosen to say, nah, that's not sad. Like, I'm still doing what I'm doing, and I'm gonna have fun doing it. It's maybe going to involve a few more steps, but I really like that attitude of, like, let's go out and do it. There's no reason why I can't, and absolutely, there's no reason why anybody can't.
But the point is that we all have limitations and we all have abilities. I think the important thing is to not waste our time. We never know how long we're going to be here in this planet, and we never know what's going to happen tomorrow or today. So don't waste a minute. Figure out what you can do, and if it's exciting, go do it.
Here you go.
The people were great. Our guide and the company Chinook Rafting did a fabulous job. So we're going to head off and head over to Bow Valley Campground and relax for the evening, have some hot dogs, and watch the sunset.
So where's your camp spot?
I don't know.
Might be a tent.
I sleep in the tent.
You don't like it?
No, not at all.
Why is that?
Because it's so tough to move around.
He favors more of a lean-to approach, and so we rigged up a tarp coming off the side of a truck and then staked to the ground so that he could actually drive his chair partway underneath, and then we'd kind of position him out and down onto his sleeping mat.
Awfully bon.
I think he gets probably a little claustrophobic in the city when he's city-bound, and so when he gets to the outdoors, he just kind of relaxes and he's just in his happy place, and it's fun to see him out there, you know, experiencing all he can experience. And he did it to such a high degree when he is able-bodied, but he continues to do it to the highest level as a disabled person, you know, experiencing all he can do, and he adapts. I'm not sure this is covered by warranty. I think organizations like Rocky Mountain Adaptive Sports and Camp Kindle and CADS, you know, make it possible for people like Remy who have a disability. And they have people there who can see ways to adapt the equipment, ways to adapt the terrain to accommodate a wide range of people and their abilities. So if you're thinking it's not possible, chances are somebody's already thought of it, tried it, and done it, adapted, so it is possible.
We meet people at 9:30.
At 9:30 in the morning?
Yeah, it's a big open with couple times. And I'm doing one. The name is Delicious.
You always learn a little bit more about Remy and his experience and his outlook on life when you're just kind of hanging out and going through some of these things. And it informs the rest of our life outside of when we're not hanging out to keep that same sort of attitude. It's looking good.
See you in the morning.
Yeah, see you in the morning.
Yeah.
Sleep well. Good morning. Good morning. 6:30. Sun is up. Yeah, so when we arrived at Grassy Lakes, Jamie McCullough from Rocky Mountain Adaptive Sports met us there. And he has the trail wheelchair that we used to cart Remy and his gear, climbing gear, up here.
Ironically, 10 years ago, there was a lot of volunteers, and 10 years later, you know, the people have gotten accustomed to Remy's reality, and I think there's a little less motivation to give some time.
His group of friends is a little bit more busy with their own things, but people just take turns and get involved in helping, and also new people come in. So we look for volunteers and we see new faces that help on and off for different activities like skiing or hiking. And also organization like Rocky Mountain Adaptive Center provides volunteers when we do activities as well, which is great. It's just a system with like a wheelbarrow wheel, and we could have 2 to 4 people pulling a person with disability up on hikes. And sometimes even we do a little train in the front and have 3 people hooked up to pull faster when it's steeper and when you have the manpower. Is it comfortable, Remy?
What?
Is it comfortable, the chair? Yeah, it's very good. Very good, and we're lucky we can borrow it whenever we want. We just have to ask Jamie about it, and then we make a reservation, and there you go. We can pick it up and drop it off.
Where we're adapting certain things to him, adapting equipment, adapting process, but in reality, it's Remy and his team that adapt to his challenges.
Well, I hope that for people to look at him doing these activities, it inspires people with disabilities to not see the backcountry or outdoor activities like barriers, but opportunities to go out. Coming to mountain is inspiring when we look at him, but just his everyday life, if you compare it to ours, ours is very easy and his very complicated, and it takes a lot of perseverance, and he even pushes it to a level where he can realize himself into activities like today.
The small things that we do that make a huge difference. And to see him out there climbing, you know, it makes me a little stronger.
Some of the good aspects for him became stronger, like being stubborn and perseverant and passionate is helping him actually to go through obstacles of life.
He's really diversified, doing a variety of different things. I think the future for Remy really depends on Remy's desire. He's capable of accomplishing whatever he puts his mind to.
I've done in a day 200 meters back in Lake Louise for my training for climbing.
What Remy invented, and he did a little drawing online on his computer and sent it to his friend so he could build this idea of tying up his paralyzed arm and using his other hand as a double hand ascenders to keep his body straight. And the rest of the ascenders are just regular industrial equipment, so a chest one and a foot one to keep the rope down when he's going up.
Any recreationalist who chooses to literally climb a rope will be doing exactly the same thing that Remy is doing. So in reality, I'd like to suggest that it's not really adapted. It's more that Remy has adapted, and he's adapted his objectives, and so he can actually experience the passion that some of us have when we're in the mountains.
Des grands mouvements.
But I think if Remy really wanted to climb mountains like Hauling or Mount Yamnuska, the Squamish Chief, or El Capitan in Yosemite, he'd have one person most likely signed up, which is me for sure. So the future for Remy all depends on what he really wants to do. He can do anything he puts his mind to, really. If the birds start pecking at your eyes, just close them.